You may not know right.
Folks, we got 10 news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security news, SSI, and SSDI. Continue watching this video because you definitely don't want to miss out on this important stimulus check information. Action is being taken right now. Governor McCarthy has just confirmed that a debt ceiling vote will likely happen on Tuesday, and this could save millions of Americans from huge financial changes from the federal government. Today, Kevin McCarthy announced that Congress will meet the deadline to raise the debt ceiling, acknowledging that no deal has been made by voting an agreement will be reached in time to prevent a government default. Janet Yellen raised the stakes in the marathon negotiations on Friday, when she provided the first hard deadline for when the government will be unable to pay down all of its obligations. June 5th, everybody, is the date. And asked if Congress can meet that deadline, McCarthy didn't hesitate to say yes. McCarthy vowed that he'll stick with the 72-hour rule, providing lawmakers a full 3 days to read a text of the legislation before they're asked to vote on it. McCarthy even said he's been in talks with Senate leaders about how much time they'll need to meet the June 5 deadline. And if a deal is reached tomorrow, that would set the stage for a House vote on Tuesday. McCarthy declined to name the barriers that remain as he and his deputies haggle with the White House negotiators over the last outstanding disagreements. But he said Republicans have not dropped the demand for permitting reform designed to eliminate regulatory hurdles to energy infrastructure projects. It's something Democrats have opposed for fear that it would degrade the environment at the expense of poor communities. McCarthy also confirmed that Republicans have been in discussions with Carson Sinema and moderate Democrats on particular issues. The speaker outlined the rollout of any deal and saying he would make a vague announcement that would withhold the details of any agreement to allow lawmakers to read the bill before the press and public do. Still, people all over the nation are now wondering what will happen to lawmakers if their personal finances are not met. Based on Social Security Administration payment schedules, a June 5 default might actually protect beneficiaries from the potential delayed checks and direct deposits, because individuals receiving the payments are still going to receive the money, but maybe in a later date. If the Treasury Department is unable to successfully prioritize payments for Social Security, the consequences for these groups can be devastating. Beyond the initial group of payees, the Social Security Administration monthly payment calendar suggests that there is a bit more breathing room for other beneficiaries, providing that lawmakers reach a deal beforehand and the next beneficiary payments are not expected until June 14th. So, the debt default picture is also cloudy for individuals who rely on Medicare and Medicaid to pay for bills. But the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services said that these government health programs are defaulting on the national debt and would severely damage the crucial health care programs that millions of Americans rely on. And since Yellen was the first on a debt default, she said it could happen within a few days of June, and the short-term U.S. borrowing costs have soared as investors demand greater return for the risk that they won't be paid on time.
Will not raise taxes on anyone making over 400,000 grand. And I'll pay for it all, my proposals, by making the wealthy and big corporations pay just a little bit more. Like I said, do you think a trillionaire should be staying at 3%? Look, I'm a capitalist. If you can make $1 million or $1 billion, I said trillion. If you make $1 billion or $1 million, God love you. But just...
I can't believe this is happening, folks. Millions of Americans will see their monthly benefits disappear. And the White House has already confirmed that Joe Biden will be ending the national public health emergency. And so what this means is that many low-income households, seniors, will see a drastic change to the monthly benefits. Now, the White House has officially announced today that Joe Biden intends to end his public health emergency, and that means that many Americans can have to start paying for testing and treatment after the declaration ceases. So the White House folks said in a statement that this wind down would align with the administration's previous commitments to give at least 60 days notice prior to the termination of the public health emergency. So this has enabled the Americans to provide, and the government to provide Americans with tests and treatments at no charge, as well as other enhanced social safety net benefits, and to help the nation cope with the crisis and minimize its impact. So a senior vice president at the Family Foundation told CNN, people have to start paying some money for things that they didn't have to pay for during the
For weeks, we have been talking about the price of gas and we've been feeling it, but some relief could be on the way. House Democrats want to give you some money to help with the sticker shock. The proposal would send an energy rebate of $100 per month to individuals or $200 for couples, plus $100 for each dependent for each month the national gas price.
So good news, the more states have finally decided to approve more financial assistance to the low income. States like Tennessee and Georgia have approved bonus payments for some residents, These payments may be worth as much as $500, but there are strict requirements that need to be met in order to qualify. And now, we can finally expect more stimulus to be sent out. The Tennessee Department of Human Services is providing extra support for families to receive cash assistance in the amount of $500. The Tennessee Department of Human Services will provide financial assistance through its Family First program. Households that are part of the program will receive a one-time additional payment of $500 on their existing electronic benefit transfer cards. One-time payments have already begun being sent to eligible families. This one-time boost in financial assistance is intended to help families and first participants overcome these temporary hurdles. We serve some of the most economically vulnerable families, said the commissioner, and children through the Families First program. He recognizes the challenges they're facing and keeps up demand of the holiday season and wants to introduce new ways to overcome hurdles for the people that are suffering. Minnesota will also get a new stimulus check thanks to the election results last month, where Democrats won both House and Senate. Now, everybody, the Democrats fully control the state legislature. It's very possible that $1,000 stimulus checks from Minnesota could be reality. During the 2022 midterm election, the Minnesota's Democratic Farm Labor Party retained its majority in the Minnesota House of Representatives and won a majority in the Senate. Also, the governor was able to win re-election. One big advantage of a single party controlling all parts is that it makes it easier to send out bills and approve proposals, especially if the opposing party doesn't have enough votes to counter. And it's believed that the latest election results could lead to a $1,000 stimulus check for Minnesota. There are two reasons why Democrats could go ahead with the stimulus checks. First, Minnesota is still sitting on top of a $9 billion surplus, thanks to a tax high collection. The state budget office estimated $9 billion in surplus money in March. Second, the governor, during his campaign trail speeches, reminded voters of his plan to use the surplus money to send up to $1,000 stimulus checks to individuals and up to $2,000 to couples. Governor Walz proposed sending another stimulus check again this year without reaching a consensus on how to spend the budget. And also, government employees in Georgia can expect a sizable direct payment next week. It comes after officials decided to offer a bonus Christmas check. The state is looking to retain more workers as they have struggled to come up with enough money to pay first responders, utility workers, and other positions. The Board of Commissioners has told reporters this week that the residents deserve sustainable, high-quality county government services, and those are made possible by a strong, reliable workforce. Payments will vary depending on the position. Full-time employees are set to receive $1,000, while part-time will get $750. Workers should receive payments starting this week. Also, the Gwinnett County School District employees are set to receive a bonus of $1,000 in December, with as many as 21,000 workers eligible. It comes from the school district, and they gave out the bonuses of $700 last year to the full-time employees.
The gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Malinowski, and the gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Graves, will each control 20 minutes. Chair recognizes the gentleman from New Jersey.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days within which to revise and